as a, to do interviews. We're looking at how to go on interviews, and it burdened me because I needed to do this because of recent I've been interviewing some people, and it's so disappointing. You know, it's so disappointing. Hang on, our guest is about to come in. Pardon me, please. Pardon me, please. I'm trying to talk with her. All right, so sorry about that. And I said I needed to do this because I interviewed some people recently, and it's been so disappointing. What I'm hearing from teachers when they come for interviews, some of them don't even know what is required of them. Some of them don't know why they're there, and some people are they are when they come, they just come because you ask them why are they here, and they don't know what to answer you. Why are they teachers? They don't even know what to answer you. Of recent, there was one lady we were interviewing, and then she started crying. Started crying there, right during the interview. So this is why one of the things we're doing here now. At least I know most of us here are school leaders. I don't know, Miss Debbie. I don't know if you're a school leader, but I do know Miss Ibronke is a school leader. Miss Uche is a school leader. Mrs. Hafsa is a school leader. So let me ask, not about interviews, you being you interviewing right now. Which interview has been the most remarkable for you, whether as an interviewee or as an interviewer? Let me ask that. Which has been the most remarkable for you, Ms. Omokuto? Good evening, ma'am. All right. So, just our speaker is experiencing some technical delay. She'll be in a moment, but before she comes, let us just have some laugh. Which has been the most remarkable or the most funny interview you've either been to or been in? Anybody, please. Miss, if you want to answer, or Mrs. Ibironke?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Mrs. Ibironke. I can hear you.
Okay. I'll share an interview that I attended once. I always find interviews interesting because I worked as a recruitment specialist for about 10 years.
Okay.
So whether I'm being on the interview, I always find it fun. I attended interview process that started with me being told who I will be working with as an executive assistant at a top level. It was founded in and they were looking forward to the benefits, the big salary, the
Sorry, there's an interference. I can't hear you.
yeah, who is driving. Okay, is it better
Miss
now?
Uche, please, can you? Yes, it's better. Miss Uche, can you please mute your mic if you're not speaking yet? Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
so
Yes, Miss Ibronke, continue.
I took the first stage of the interview. The second stage, I met with some of the directors. Still, I couldn't meet with them in the organization. We had to have the meetings in other places. And then I started getting suspicious when on a Sunday afternoon, I received a call from the recruiter that, can you get on a Zoom call in 10 minutes for the final stage of the interview? And I'm like, wow, okay. I rushed up, dressed up, tried to look as presentable as I could. and got on the Zoom call. And lo and behold, the person who was going to interview me, I was told would not put on his camera. So I couldn't see who was interviewing me. At that point, I declined to go further with the interview process. And I told them, I'm sorry, this has been shrouded in so much secrecy from the beginning, and I thought it was just for security purposes. But if I'm going to be working with someone at this level, and I still
Mm-hmm.
cannot see person's face on a Zoom call, I would like to decline following up with the interview process. And well, they said that's how it operates in their organization and all. And I said, sorry, I won't be a good fit for that organization. That I would like to decline.
Wow, I have never heard that one before. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Imagine being interviewed by somebody that is the face is a faceless person. Wow.
exactly. And he was
Oh no,
he
no.
reported his faceless, so I thought, no, I can't do this.
That was a wise
Thank
choice. Though. Some people would have actually decided to go on. Is it not money I'm looking for? Some people would have decided to
yeah,
go on, and you don't know what's whether it is
yeah,
scamming or So
yeah.
good
It
for you,
looks
Mrs.
like
Brockett. Thank you.
yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Is there anyone willing to share their own interview story, funny or scary? I think this Mrs. Brocker's one is scary, either funny or scary or a remarkable one. Whoever, does anyone want to share?
Okay, I once went for an interview, and I knew quite sure I was going to teach English. But getting there, I was given about 150 math questions and about 250 English questions. And I was expected to answer all of these in 1 hour.
Oh
I
my.
picked I don't know. They claim that's the timing they give to their learners. So if a learner can operate in that space of time, a teacher should be able to do much more. I picked up the
Wow.
math. It wasn't looking like something I would do in 30 minutes. And moreover, it's about 150 questions. Then I looked at the English, 150 or more. I just
Wow.
concentrated on the English aspect. And when I was done, I returned back the marks untouched. So one of the guys met me and was like, Ma, you expected to answer both math and English. I told him, I said, if eventually you hire me, I'm not certain I'll be teaching math. So I don't see myself answering this. I submitted, I left. After a while, they called and were like, they saw that even though I didn't touch their maths, I was able to meet up some certain percent of the English and all. But that was it for me. From that interview experience, I just told them I wasn't available. So they called severally. I told them I wasn't interested. They were like, Madam, please come, even if it's for
Ah,
us to just talk. I had to scream eventually. I said, I'm not interested. Is it by force to talk? Leave me alone. I'm not interested. So I think it's crazy. I'm going for something and you're giving me test on
something
an
else.
area you know I will not be competent in. What are you trying to achieve? So that's my story.
Thank you, Mizuche, for that, everyone. Okay, so our speaker is here. Now I'm just going to have her come up immediately because she has another engagement immediately after this one. Most of us already know her, Mrs. Toyosi Babatunde. If you've looked at the bio already from where I've posted it, she's somebody worth listening to. I follow her like judiciously on LinkedIn. She will not know. I peep into her profile every time, every time. Ms. Toyosi Babatunde, please, we are welcome to our midst. And over to you. Ms.
Good
Toyosi,
evening,
yeah,
everyone.
good evening.
Good evening, Miss Raina. Thank you for having me. So
Thank
you're
you
one
so
of the
much for
people
honoring my
checking my
request
profile.
every time.
Recently I noticed a few names I'd seen earlier, checking my profile again, and I said, people should leave me alone. I'm not updating my profiles anytime soon. Yes, I have updates that should go on there, but I'm not ready. So sorry if you have been looking for the latest updates and I have refused to give you. Maybe soon. But for now, I'm keeping the other things on the wraps. I
Oh,
see some of my LinkedIn friends here. I just saw, oh yes, Mrs. Ibironke, I see you. I see early start consults. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a delight to be speaking to all of you today. Yes, Bukola Larakwe, that's one of my newest connections. Janet Ogunyemi, I see you. So you know that I see some of the names. I know some of the names. Who else do I know here? Okay, I think that's about it for now. I think I've seen Abigail AGK too. All right, so I'll be sharing my screen with us. I hope that's fine.
yes, please.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sharing from the wrong point. I have multiple tabs open. Let's just say that technology has shown me a lot between August and now. So when I join call, that's why you see I'm joining from multiple devices.
Yeah.
So I'll join multiple devices. I'll have my slides on multiple devices, so that if
Oh,
one wants to show me, I have something to fall back on. All right.
no problem,
So
ma'am.
let's talk about this very quickly. I'm sorry, but I may have to ask for a session 2. I hope that will fit into your calendar. This is because today I'm focusing on interviews, but I would like us to have a session where we
Okay.
can also look at cover letters and CVs. If
Okay.
you're interested anyway,
Hmm.
but won't be able to do that
Well,
in the time we have today. But I'll still talk about them today as
okay.
well. For those in my mentoring
Okay.
circle, when we did that, I showed them a sample. I actually used mine as a sample. And then I showed them how I prepared my CV, what my CV looks like. And then I asked them to work on it. Or maybe I could give you a video to that session. I'll check. Either of the two. So in today's session, we will learn how to prepare for our interviews, how to comport ourselves during the interview, and what interviewers look for. So let's get started.
Thank
Let's
you.
start with preparing for the interview. One of the things you need to prepare for is how you would introduce yourself. Many of us are familiar with the question, tell us about yourself. When you hear this question, I want 2 people to tell me how they introduce themselves when they are asked this question at interviews. 2 volunteers to please. Can we see my screen? Okay, yes.
Yes.
I need 2 people. Okay, you are not seeing what I wanted to see. You're seeing it, yes, but it's not as bold as I want it to be. I might just have to leave it because it's like I've touched a sore point for this system. All right, so 2 people to tell me how they answer that question. When interviewers ask you, tell us about yourself, what do you say? Please unmute your mic and share.
Or I will call.
That would be nice.
Okay. Early start consults. Let's hear you. How do you introduce yourself at an interview?
Hi, Georgina,
Early
you're
start.
welcome. I see you joining.
Early start consult. Are you there? How do you introduce yourself?
Good
Silence.
evening,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
I am.
All right. Go on. Early start. Are you there? Wow. Okay, she's off. Who else? Miss
I'm here.
Temitope.
I am here, ma'am.
Okay, Miss, let's start. All right. So, how do you introduce yourself at an interview?
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so sincerely, I have never had this experience before. So my first job, I got it by recommendation, but I have been in an interview panel before, and then the interviewer asked the applicant, please tell us about yourself. And then she started by saying her name, her school, and all of that. But immediately the interviewer stopped her and told her that we already have your CV. We don't need that. Please tell us about yourself. And that single experience took me back home. I had to put myself in the shoe of that applicant. And then I started asking myself a lot of questions. In fact, I had to go online to start reading, watching YouTube videos on how best to answer this question. Like I said, I have never been in that position where I'll be asked, please tell us about yourself. But that's that experience that that experience I had, it made me to go back home and start asking myself a lot of questions. I don't know. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. You have just said one of the things that I want to point out to us today. Just a minute. I want it to be bold, and for some reason it's not going through. I might just have to leave it after now because I don't want us to be distracted. Okay, so what often happens is many people come in and they start to tell us, oh, my name is XYZ, I went to so school, I finished with this results. We don't want that information. You know why? You already told us that on your CV. So what we are looking at is, tell us what we don't know about you that makes you suitable for this role. Do you understand? In other words, sell yourself to us. Tell us why we should give you the job. So when you start by telling us where you went to school and all those other things, it's, in fact, once some people start that way, they have already lost some points, depending on the panel they are facing. Do we understand? So
Yeah.
when you're introducing yourself, we want to hear unique things about you that are not on your CV that tell us that you are suitable for that role and we should hire you. So we want to hear your strengths and your weaknesses. But even in talking about your weaknesses, we have to talk about them from a place of strength. So they don't look as if, hey, we should not hire this person. This is a flight to risk. No. Do you understand? So, for example, I remember one of the interviews I attended and I had to talk about my weakness. One of my weaknesses is the fact that I can be a workaholic. Now, there's no employer that does not like that kind of employee. Yes or no? So I'd say,
Yes, ma'am.
my response was, oh, okay, I'm very hardworking and all that. And unfortunately, that also tends to be one of my weaknesses because I just keep going on and on, delivering results back to back without taking a break. And that can make me come across to my team as being, what was that word I even used now? As being a workhorse. But as a matter of fact, it's just that I know how to get people to deliver results so I now turn that weakness again in a way that makes them know that this person, yes, fits the role. Because I now said, well, over the years, I have consistently worked on myself such that I'm able to get my team to deliver great results without them realizing they are working so hard. And that's the truth. We are smiling, we are playing, but we are working more than we have worked in the past. My current team will tell you that. Yeah, yesterday we still had a meeting about Christmas and all that. And I told the arts team what I wanted for the decor. And they were telling me, once the decorator comes, no, I'm sorry. You're going to build me a set apart from what the decorator is doing. And by the time I started telling them what I've done in the past, the lead did like this. I said, no, don't worry. Let me tell you, I'm also the queen of hacks. So let me tell you how you can go around it without expending energy. So imagine that you are telling a prospective boss that you can make people work and deliver great results than they've ever done without them feeling that they can do that, that is your weakness. Will the person still see it as your weakness?
No.
No, to that person, I like that kind of weakness.
No.
Understand? So you have inadvertently sold yourself from the get-go. When you are asked to talk about yourself, please avoid appearing appearing unprepared or like you don't know what to say. I've seen a lot of that. Like person, my name is Bisi Adelagun. I'm the last born. Because you are now looking for what to say that is in your CV. No, that is why I said practice introducing yourself out loud in your house several times before the day of the interview. See, you may write it out, but if you don't say it, there's a difference.
Yeah.
When you say it, you are listening to it yourself. Your mind, every part of you is listening and is in agreement with what you're saying. Do you understand? And it also gives you the confidence. You can even take it a step further. While you're introducing yourself, stand in front of the mirror. Watch your facial expressions. Watch your body language. And then also record the audio and listen again. Listen to yourself. So that all the unnecessary filler words like you will catch yourself. And then you work on them. And time yourself as well. Some people see, we had an interview this week. Oh my goodness. In the first 10 minutes of that interview, I'd already written not recommended for that gentleman. Why? Because he introduced himself for 10 straight minutes until we practically shut him up. Like, it's okay. It's okay. And then the HR asked me to ask my own question. As I started to ask my question, this man continued introducing himself again. And then we had to say, it's okay. HR now said, the head of school is asking you questions now. Can you please stop talking? 10 minutes. You're still that means in a class, what will happen? He will not manage his time well. He will go off on the wrong tangent on the learners. Do you understand? So there's a lot that how you present yourself, how you answer questions, tell us about you right from the beginning. I've spent too much time on this. Let's go on. Number 2, do your homework. Waiting for that to move. Try to move. Do your homework. What do I mean? Research about the school. Nothing hurts me more than when you see a brilliant person, intelligent person who has a lot of potentials come into an interview session and then they ask, what's our vision? The person doesn't know it. Even if I'm wondering why the slide isn't changing for you, because I've changed slides. I hope it just changed after a minute. So even if you're not able to say the vision word for word because, oh, you're not our staff or something like that, it is expected that you should at least know what we are about. You should be able to say something about what the school is trying to achieve with every child. What's our vision? What's our mission? What are the core values of the school? You should know them. As a matter of fact, those things are important to you as an educator, as a person. I will not work in a school where the core values do not align with my personal values as a person. I won't. See, I can be petty. Let me tell you what I mean. If I don't like the name of a school, I will not apply to that school. Do you understand? I won't.
Yes.
If the core values do not align with my core values, there is nothing I am coming to do. Right from my first or second year as an educator, I started training and teaching people that in going into a school, make sure that your personal values align with that of the school. Make sure that your vision goes in line with that of the school. So that as you're getting trained on the job, as you are getting yourself trained to deliver on the job, you are also being trained in line with your personal vision and life mission. That way, it doesn't feel as if you have wasted time serving somebody else whenever you are ready to move on. I'm concerned that you still cannot see my slide. Okay. It's changed for you now. So, do your homework. Know these things ahead of time. One, to help you in planning. And secondly, when we ask you, you should be able to say something. You should know the location. If the school has multiple locations, you should know. If your interview is online, for instance, you should at least have an idea of the physical location. You don't have to have been there, but know that the school is in Gwarimpa, or is in Wuse, or is in Balogun, or is in Bodija. Do you understand? Imagine applying for a job and you are invited for an interview. The school is in Cameroon and you're here in Nigeria, and it's not as if you're planning to relocate. Wouldn't that have been a waste of time and effort for you and the person?
Yeah.
And if it's also available online, check out their leadership structure. Who are their leaders? Are there people that you can submit to? Are there people that you respect or that you can bring yourself to respect? And if the full structure is there, you can also check what is the progression for my growth. Also, do a research about their curriculum. It will be stated on their website. So once you have seen it, now do further research. Learn how that curriculum is being implemented or how it can be implemented so that you are talking from an informed point of view. And so that when you get to the question part, you have questions, then you can ask. We'll talk about the question as we go on. Now I have to run. I think I'm taking too much time here. If you haven't taken an assessment, prepare to take an assessment. Not like the example that this other person, there was someone talking when I joined, and the person talked about being given 150 math questions, 150 English questions. Unless it was in secondary school, even for secondary schools. I think those people were just trying to appear top. That's what I think. And it backfired. Or they didn't have a professional set their questions. So they just put questions together and sent it out. Okay, so prepare to take an assessment. If you haven't taken an assessment, assessment can be in different forms. It can be the math and English. Basically, even if you are not going to teach math and English assessment, even if it's just a few questions, because there's a basic level of understanding you're expected to have, along with your specialist area, if you're not going to be a class teacher. And then prepare to do a practicum. Some schools might not ask you to do a practicum, but it's better you are prepared and you don't have to do it than you are not prepared and you have to do it. Imagine someone coming for a specialist area and the person does not expect to take a practicum. How? Okay, for example, you're a music teacher. You expect us to only talk to you and not ask you to play an instrument or teach a class? No. I mean, I went for a role similar to my current role now, and after everything, I was asked to sit down and prepare and do a data analysis. First, generate data by myself, generate data to represent some parts of the school, then analyze the data.
Wow.
They wanted to test, yes. And I was timed. I think I was given 30 minutes. They didn't need me to finish, but they needed to see, one, the application I will use, how I would do it, the information that I will be able to think of. And I was able to, I passed. The only issue we had was money. But at least I was able to take the assessment and pass. It also has to do with what you do on a daily basis. Then pay attention to your parents. Some people come for interviews and you wonder if they knew they had an interview in the first place. Like when this person left home, did he or she plan to come straight to this place? Or did something happen? I'm serious. Because some look unkept, some will just wear t-shirts. I've seen t-shirts before, especially the virtual ones. Maybe they expected that their videos should be turned off. I don't know. But I don't understand why you expect your videos to be turned off in a virtual interview. We want to see you, apart from hearing your voice. We want to see your person. So please, get a decent haircut. This is not the time to bring red hair to an interview or blue hair. Yes, we may be woke, but at the same time, because it's a workplace, there are often rules that guide it, and you are in education. If you get to the school or you get your handbook and it says, oh, we are woke in every sense of it, you can come in with dreads, your hair can be green and purple, fine. But for the interview, make sure you conform to traditional work dressing styles. Your hair should be decent as well. It shouldn't cover your face. We want to see you. And then avoid loud colors and long nails. We need to see you looking good. Now let's go to the interview itself. There are different questions that they would want to ask you. We will look at those ones in the next slide. But first, follow basic etiquette. When you get there, greet everyone. Some people will come in. Okay, let me make you laugh. Last week, I was in my office. Or was it Monday now? And someone just barged into my office. There were two of them, a lady and a gentleman. The lady is a bit tall. And then not only did she come in without knocking, she walked all the way. It's a large room. She walked all the way and stood almost in front of my table. Now it was my lunchtime I was eating. So she was basically staring down at me and my lunch. The fact that I wasn't smiling did not stop her. And then she stood. I said, yes, how may I help you? He said, I am looking for XYZ. She mentioned my deputy's name. I smiled. I said, oh, really? Where from? She said, I've been discussing with him before. Okay, she said, I'm from Suso Company. Okay, have you met with, I mentioned the department she should have met with. He said, I've been discussing with him before, referring to him by first name. I said, I see. So I told her to walk out with me. It was then her colleague apologized for how they came in and interrupting my lunch. And then I beckoned to one of the junior staff and told her to take the person, or take the two of them to my deputy's office. Then I called the front desk and asked how those people managed to get to my office in the first place. And the lady kept apologizing that they kept going in the wrong directions and was towards closing time, so she couldn't even leave her desk to go with them. And according to her, there was nobody she could send, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I said, but she just sent a message to my deputy that the lady was rude to her at the front desk. And I said, no problem. I said, please send him a second message that if their requests is something that will come to my table, he should not bother to bring it. And really, there's no way that request would have gone without getting to my table. They wanted to do business with our school. But then they were impolite. So you don't have, in fact, when she was asking, maybe she had met him around my office before, I don't know. She was almost implying that I wasn't supposed to be in my office. Like he should have been there. She expected to meet him in that room. And I was just laughing. Somebody that when I want to pester him sometimes, I will tell him that even his own office still belongs to me, that I'm using this office. So that is an opportunity that somebody lost because of attitude.
Yeah.
Be polite. You don't know who everybody. I've met people before who would say, oh, I didn't expect, I'm sorry, but I didn't expect the head teacher to look like that, the head office to look like that. Oh, really? What are you expecting? One time I had some visitors from Access Bank headquarters. Again, they needed some data to help them with something they were working on, and because our school was one of the schools that used their bank, they came to see us. And the owner of the school send them to me because I've been running the school for years. So she was like, "Go and see Mrs. Babatunde." So when they walked in, tall, huge men, about 4 of them, asked them to sit. I saw that they were staring at me, and then, oh, so I was told you wanted to. I began to attend to them, and when we're done, one of them said, "I'm sorry, but I have to say this. When we're told that you are the only one that could help us, I didn't expect you to look like." I said, "What do you mean?" Say, when they said they hate that, they hate that, I had a different image. I said, "Oh, okay, so who did you expect to meet?" He was stammering. I said, "Oh, okay, you were expecting one huge person." One said yes. Another, I said, "Okay, you were expecting someone with white hair, glasses, and all that." I said, "Yeah, sorry. I am your own conventional kind of head." So sometimes you may pass the very person that is going to interview you and you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I've done it to people before, especially if I'm not in a mood to talk. People come into the school, "Oh, I know that thing is coming to my table." And we pass them to the office they have asked for. And then sometimes I call the person on the intercom or the phone and said, "I'm not talking to anybody today. Take their proposal and let them know I'll call them back. But I am not treating proposals today." Because one other thing is, sometimes if you are not careful, all those walk-ins will take your whole day, especially as a school head, and you won't get any work. But many times I'll be like, "Okay, I'll send them there." Then because when they get to my office, they will be shocked. Or sometimes I say, "Oh, don't worry, I'll come down there." So be polite. And then when you get on the call or into the room, be polite as well. Don't just come in and sit. Ask, "May I take a seat?" It may look like, oh, it's cliche now. Everybody knows that eventually they will say, "Sit down, let's just sit down." We are still looking out for some things, and you see that. So be polite. In answering questions, be polite and be patient. When I went to Edo earlier in the year, majority of what we're doing was interviews and all that. And we had just one day. We had a lot of people to meet, a long list of people, a lot of CVs, and we're just 2 panels. So what happened was we started in the morning, we didn't finish till past 5. But they had given all of them the same time for the interview. But they would come in as they arrived. So a lady came in, and apparently she came all the way from Lagos for the interview. And guess what? She was rude from the moment she sat down. According to her, we had kept her waiting all day, and she thought she could go back to Lagos that day before. Now she couldn't return, that she had planned to go by night bus, but before she would leave that place, go back home to change and then head back to Lagos. The interviewer does not know your issues, neither does he or she know your plans. But you see, that attitude rubbed off negatively on her. We even tried to help her. We kept trying to, bring her back to where we needed her to be for her to be able to answer questions properly. But no, you ask the question, she will snap at you. You ask that one, she'll give you an answer, and then at a point she said something like, "Is it not government work? Why are we stressing her with questions?" Yes. And there were 3 of us in the panel. I was leading the panel. The lady to my left looked at me at that point and just shook her head like, "Ma, don't bother me. I've already written this one as a no." I looked at the man too shook his head. I just stopped asking questions at that point, and I thanked her for her time. In fact, I think I even gave her, no, was she the one? There were 3 of them that late interview, they reacted. But okay, one cried. So I gave her my pastry. They gave us lunch, but I couldn't stop to eat lunch. They bought pastries and a drink. I took the drink and I left the pastry. So I gave her one of my pastries. When the other guy came, I gave him the other pastry. In his own case, it was very polite. It was the last, yes, it was the very last person, but he came in smiling. He was polite, answered every question. he was already good on his own, but his attitude could have disqualified him. See now that lady, as if he told us that she was good. But her attitude and her responses did not give us what the CV was saying. Your CV will sell you. That's the truth. Your cover letter will sell you. But you must also sell yourself. You must tell us that what those things are saying is true. And that's what the lady failed to convince us of. There was no moral justification for us to pass her on the basis of the CV, because both the attitude and the answers betrayed her. So by the time we're done with that gentleman, I just gave him the other snack. I told him, I'm impressed with your attitude. Like, you can imagine arriving for an interview that they told you is 8 o'clock. Let's even say he was the last to arrive and he arrived 8 o'clock or 8:05. He didn't come into the room until 5:00 something. And he still came in smiling. We asked if he had eaten. He said no. That he didn't know when he would be called. So he never left outside where they were placed. It was a long hall, a long corridor where they were placed. Then communicate formally and politely. You can't be answering your interviewer and saying bros, sis, how. Even if you know each other from your village, you cannot do that in that room. Be polite. Or mommy, no. Why are you laughing now, Miss Raina? These are things that I'm saying that I'm talking about. And you know why it pains me? It's teachers that do this more. I have been in interviews for admin staff. I've been invited in other organizations that are not even education to join them for interviews. I didn't see many of the things I saw. That was what prompted me to do that post. Because at a point I was becoming ashamed. That why are teachers shaming us like this? I told my team last on Monday. Yes, when we go back last week, Monday, when we had a staff meeting, I said, see, I started as an assistant teacher right after my NYSC. I grew through all the ranks step by step. I didn't skip any. Became class teacher, became subject teacher, supervisor, key stage coordinator, curriculum coordinator, deputy head teacher, acting head teacher, head of school, step by step. And guess what? Not a single mentoring offer did I get till I became a head teacher. Like, I practically grew myself by the grace of God and with the help of God through the ranks. So it's not as if somebody gave me, somebody pulled me up somewhere or gave me a hand. No, it was dedicated work, effort, research, tireless work. Sometimes crying, but still delivering the results. Breaking down, but still showing up. I'm not asking you to burn out. I have been there, so I tell people now how to avoid burnout. Until I became a head teacher, before there was offer of mentoring or something like that. But even that was paid mentoring, was not free. So I won't take the excuse from teachers. And that's why when I was going to open my mentoring group again this year, I told them, I will not do it free. Even though is a low income school, I said, no problem. I will give you a massive discount, but you will pay because you will not value it. I had someone tell me once that I cannot be paid for courses like this the way you pay. If the school cannot train me, then we will remain here together. I have left that school. That person is still working in that school. And I guess that person may struggle if he or she gets into a different school. Because he won't want to start from the beginning. He's been there for years. When I was leaving, I said, everything, come and teach me. I said, in how many days? When I was there, I actually did try. One thing about me is as I'm learning, I am teaching the people around me. I would call this person, come, I just learned something, let me teach you. Like, I don't have time, leave me. Like, literally, he would rebuff me. There were two of them then that were close to me. I would always call both of them. He would tell me he doesn't have time for all that. He's too busy. He's marking. He'll go. The other person will come with the books she's marking and a jotter. I will teach you, right? She's his boss today. Yeah.
You see?
They were on the same level before. So many teachers tend to act like, oh, they are helpless. Please throw away that learned helplessness. You are not. If you know how to spend money, you are not helpless. If you know how to open your hand and collect your salary, you are not helpless. You know how to eat, you are not helpless. It is just that you have chosen what is important to you. So let's move on. Some of the common questions that you come across are, tell us about yourself. I already told us how to answer that, right? Yeah. Tell us, yes, tell us your name. Then tell us the things that are not on your CV that will sell you for the role. Why do you want to become a teacher? Or why do you love teaching? Or why are you in teaching? See that question. Your answer is not because I like to teach people things. No. Even if, oh, it is because you love to help people, put it in context. It's that context we are interested in. Sell us a story. What is your teaching philosophy? Tell us a story. Before I knew much, one of the first things I learned that became my teaching philosophy is that every child in my class must learn. And so I learned to tailor learning to each child's personality and most active period. I had a child who will be very active in the morning, but once it is 12 noon, he's asleep. There is no magic you will perform. Similarly, will not wake up until 5 p.m. once he sleeps at that 12. Now, that 12 was our lunch time. Then it was kindergarten. That was my very first class. That's 1.5 to 2.5 years. Lunchtime started at 12. When we moved it by 10 minutes, it didn't work. I had to walk around my timetable to make sure that by 11:30, 11:40, we start eating. Then I would feed him first. Or as I'm feeding him, I'm feeding the second child. You know why? I needed him to finish eating before he would sleep off at that 12. Sometimes he would sleep off a few minutes to 12. So I learned not to waste time. Latest 7:40 is already eating. I try to keep it 10 minutes. And then I move him to the changing table, change his diaper. By the time I'm done changing his diaper, he's already asleep. I put him in the snooze room and I'm back in class. I had another pupil that will not come in till 10 when about half of the learning is already done. But that same child wouldn't leave till 5. So when I'm done with others by 2 o'clock, he's still learning. Because I wanted to make sure that he did not lose out on the learning. I'd spoken to the parents so many times about coming early, you know, new styles. Oh, and we don't want to wake him up, want him to wake up by himself. You know, those kind of things. So I told myself, it was from then I learned that, see, after I've talked and said all I can to the parents and the school has written, if there's no change, then the ball is now in my court. Because I wouldn't allow one child to leave my class without learning. So imagine, when you ask me my teaching philosophy, I will not just tell you, oh, I believe every child should learn. I will tell you the story of Timili and Hamid and how I was able to reach each of them and ensure that they still got the learning that they needed. It drives the point home. It also makes me memorable to everybody on that panel. What gets you frustrated or discouraged? Dear educators, when you come across this question, please don't be deceived. Don't start ranting. They are not asking you for your pet peeve in that sense. They want to know if you have what it takes, if you are adaptable. That's what they want to know. So in telling them what can be your discouragement or what can be your frustration, you must say it in such a way that it comes across as a strength. Oh, one of the things that hurts me the most is seeing children shortchange themselves because of a lack of self-belief. Over the years, I have dedicated my time and effort to eradicating this as much as possible amongst my learners. And then you tell them steps that you take to help your learners believe in themselves. Are we clear, please?
Yes,
Please, as
yes,
I'm
yeah.
saying, you can see that I'm very
Yes,
passionate.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very, very clear.
Thank you. Now, please, don't go. When we ask, oh, do you have any question for the panelists or for the interviewer? Don't go, how much is the salary? Please don't. The minute you ask this, there's a question mark against your name on your CV. Do you know why? It makes it comes across as though you are only in it for the money, not that you actually love your job. Yes, we know that you'll be paid. Yes, we know that 30 days make a pay, right? But then what we really want to see is who you are and how you fit in, not how money conscious you are. We know that you'll be paid. So if it comes from the interviewers, you can push it back to them first, like the press, and you can say, oh, that I don't think that's important right now. I think the first thing is to see if we are a fit for each other. You know what you are doing. You are letting them know that you also believe in yourself. As if people are checking me out, me too, I'm checking you out and your organization. That's what I mean. That the most important thing right now is to see if we are a fit for each other. But if they now press, politely refer to their salary scale that, oh, you are sure that they have a competitive offer. Please ignore all the typographical errors in this slide. By the time I'm sending it to Miss Ryan, I would have corrected them. I don't usually give out my slides, but I will give you this one.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you.
so just let them know that, oh, that you are sure that they will have a competitive offer for you, just as the industry rate is. Unless they now dig in and say, okay, tell us the list and all that, you can say something, but let them know is a minimum. Do we understand? And don't act desperate. Very important. Don't act desperate. Because if you are desperate, there's a way it throws us off. Like,
Yeah.
this person
Mm-hmm.
has issues. This person has something to add. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to the question part, please avoid saying I do not have any question. Unless it's a series. Like I've been in interviews. I think a good number of interviews I've been in, especially when you get to the leadership level, there will be many stages. So if you have been asking and asking and it's just the final stage, okay. But the first and second stage, come up with questions, intelligent questions, but not questions that will make you look as if you are putting them under scrutiny or you're antagonizing them. Okay. While you're doing your research, you should research possible questions that you could ask, okay, or design your own questions. But those questions should come across as a compliment. Let me give you an example. My current role, when I was asked to ask a question, I think the first or the second time. Okay, the second stage. The first stage, I asked quite a number of questions. I asked about I asked about trainings, staff development, and work culture for the first stage. Second stage, which was where I was meeting the directors themselves. I asked, so I work in what I call a legacy school run by second generation owners, but the actual owner is still very much alive and well. So by the time I was meeting with the directors, my question was, oh, this school has been around for a long time. How have you been able to maintain the standard and the values? It was reflective for them because they paused before they could answer. But you see, it also told me a whole lot that till today I still refer to now that I'm in the role, because I don't want to be the one to bring down the standard.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But they really liked the question.
Of course.
By the time I would have the final, which was where I was meeting with the owner herself and the chairman, my question was more of a compliment. Do you understand? I could afford to then just do a compliment because I had asked questions to show that I had thought deep about them before I came there. And that's what we want to see. Are you thinking about us? Are you thinking about our organization? Or is it another jump in, jump out for you? Because to the interviewers, it's not play. They're giving their time, they're spending a lot to have you in that room. You need to justify being there. So I have 5 minutes to my next session. So let's see how we can go. This wouldn't be much anyway. What interviewers look for? Very simple. Your personality. Are you somebody that can fit in? So we call it person specification. Can you fit into our organization? Let me give you an example. An organization like British Council does not want to see that you're an entrepreneur. You will not go past the door. They don't want to see that. And most organizations don't want to see that, really, because it means that you will not give them your all. Unless it's a sales role in another company, but not British Council. If it's a sales role, then can be talking about how, oh, you're a natural salesperson. When you were 10, you sold this to your classmates. But you will not come and tell them that as I'm talking to you now, I even have a side business where I make cakes and chin-chin. No, they don't need to hear that. Even if it's an organization that says, oh, anything you do in your free time is please don't be deceived. Keep your private business private. Do we understand? So they want to see how you fit into the organization. They want to see if you're a team player. They want to see if you have what it takes. And very importantly, they want to see if you can give them organization loyalty or employee loyalty. Will you be loyal? Will you stay? Or the first person that offers you an extra 500 naira, you are out. I have lots of school owner friends. I consult for some schools. It always hurts when I hear these people say, oh, you don't know this teacher as Mrs. Babatunde. You are just different though. Any 2,000 now, they will go. No. I want them to say that teachers have class. Teachers respect themselves. Teachers are professional. The other day we had a meeting with my director, one of my directors, and he asked people to write a short note. Now, I had only been in that school for 3 months then. Now I've been there 7 months. And he asked them to write a short note to someone they admired and say something they would like, something they see in that person that they would like to become. One of my teachers passed me a note that said, I want to be professional like you.
Wow.
I wondered what she saw. And I was like, wow. On my birthday, my deputy was in my office when I was reading some of the personal messages from the teachers. I said, please, how many people am I mentoring in this school? He started laughing. He said, so he wanted to know why. I said, this person in her message said, I am a mentor. This one said, I'm a mentor. How do you mentor people and you don't know? You know, it was funny, but it was the truth. They had seen something. So I want that to be the narrative for every teacher. Let people see you as, oh, you're professional. You know what you're doing. Hardly would I talk to a parent and they will brush aside what I say. No, the way I would present it, the language I would use, the terminologies I would use, terminology that will confuse them. If I use any industry-specific terminology that they may not know, I would explain it in simple English and how it relates to their children. Okay? They also want to know if you are teachable, because no matter where you're coming from, no matter how big it is, there is always something to learn. But if you are prideful, if you are too proud, and you are not teachable, there's going to be a problem. There will be a culture clash. You will not want to learn the culture of the organization. You will not want to blend in, and that will give them a lot of problems. What's the next thing to do? Do all the things we have talked about. Write your elevator speech. Your elevator speech is how you sell yourself. I've told you what your elevator speech is all about. Of course, be comfortable in your own skin. Don't fidget. Don't act like. Come up with a strategy that will help you to relax. Okay? During the interview. So come up with your elevator speech. Oh, my name is Olamitoyosi Babatunde. I am an educator who believes in every child learning. You know, I'm just giving you an example. I'm not giving my full elevator speech. Okay? In 2 minutes, you should be able to introduce yourself in a way that will make people remember you. Work on your CV. Anytime you are sending your CV out, especially for a specific role, make sure that there is a cover letter. The cover letter helps us to see your writing skills. It gives us an idea of how you think. Okay? Thank you very much.
And don't use ChatGPT for your.
Nah. Maybe when we come back and look at that, but it will be better if we are able to take a step-by-step look at these things. We would be able to do it themselves. Okay. Thank you very much for having me.
Mr. Toyosu, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I will chat you up concerning that CV and cover letter.
No problem.
Yes.
No problem. Faith, can I take your question very quickly?
Yes,
I'm really late now. I need to have started my next session. So,
Miss Faith, your hand had been up for a while now.
okay,
I don't think she wanted to ask. Maybe she was a mistake. Mrs. Bibironke, please.
Mrs. Bibironke, let me just take that very quickly. I'm trying
to
start.
I have a question that I feel may help everyone. When you are asked the question, why did you quit your last place of employment? How much information? Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it up. I knew that there was a question I was leaving out, but I just couldn't remember which one. Oh dear. Let me quickly, I need to admit on my call, but okay. So number one, don't give too much information. 2, don't put your previous organization in a bad light. The moment you do that, for us, we score you 0 on employee loyalty. It means you will not be loyal to us as well. So don't badmouth your previous employer, even if that employer was wicked, even if they are owing you money. Don't go there and say it is because they are owing us money. Come up with a creative way. For instance, I've had to leave before because I felt like I was underutilized. But I didn't even say it that way, because wouldn't that now be an invitation to say, okay, now overuse me? I simply, and of course, I'd been there for a while. I don't just leave an organization. I simply said that it was time for me to move on. And I felt that I needed more challenges. And that was the truth, really. That was what I needed. I needed to be challenged differently, or more challenges. So I said, oh, I need to be challenged differently. Like, oh, okay, really? So, all these years you've been this business, they went this way, they went that way. I don't know if they had another impression or something, but they kept trying to, some people at that answer, they will say, oh, okay, that's fine. No, this one, they went this way, they went, just trying to put what's in my mouth. After a while, the person that was said, okay, I think that really is it for her. I can't get any other answer out. I give an example. I say, okay, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. But I've never worked in an organization like this that has so I hyped them a little. Okay, so that's why I'm really interested in working in an organization like this. I didn't make it look as if there must be this school or that's the end of the world. No. Any school that fits this profile I have said works well for me. And that was it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Is there any question? I believe that is all. Oh, Miss Toyosi had to leave. I know she has another engagement now already. We've taken 4 minutes of her time. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Is there any other question? Does anyone have any question? Something you think I can attend to? Any other question? Okay. So no other.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Please,
evening.
I want to ask a simple question. Okay,
Okay.
being away from the field for some months, I want to know what are the ways of challenging myself so I don't get outdated? Like, what are the things I need to do apart from
This is
personal
no,
development?
this is not the
And
session for that. We're talking about how to go for interviews. Um, yes, that is a total um task you're asking differently. But to answer that quickly, please, you can go into um go online. You're on LinkedIn. Yes, I know you're on LinkedIn. Search, ask questions there. Go online, ask latest search rather on Google, latest CPDs for teachers and all of that. And that should help. That should help. Is that fine, Miss Victory? Thank you, Miss Debbie, for that. All right.
yes, ma'am.
So if there's no other another webinar, I'm rushing up to that one.